So you want to start painting during this quarantine. Quarantine? I don't know how you pronounce it, but you want to start painting during this wonderful and confusing and horrible time during our lives, right? Starting from the very beginning. You don't know how much it's going to cost, you don't know where to buy, you don't know what to buy, you're not really sure as to what field you'll be interested in. But don't worry, I will walk you through some of the basics of it. When we open up Instagram these days, and almost everybody is indulging themselves in their hobby. But if you are one of those people who used to sketch a little when they were in school, but then life got in the way, you never found time. But now you have time and you want to get back to it. This is a perfect video for you. Alright, we'll start with mediums. Mediums is basically the medium. But that's good, like explaining a word by using that word. That's really good. Good work, Rachita. But no, mediums are basically the things that we are using.
Which is usually pen and paper, pencil, watercolors and all those things that we use to create an aqua.
First one is pencil and paper. If you go on Instagram, you will see some wonderful, like hyper realistic kind of paintings that people are doing just with graphite and paper. And of course, we don't want to overreach and put too much pressure on ourselves, but it tells us the scope of how much can we achieve just by one pencil and paper. The second medium are close to pencils is color pencils. Now you may have to buy these color pencils, but I assure you, you'll be able to get them easily at your local stationery shop. If you're bored of like just doing pencils in black and white, graphite gets everywhere on your hands here, and yeah, it can be kind of messy. You can switch over to pencil colors. The cost of these pencil colors will be dependent on how much you're willing to spend. And the minimum that it starts at is at 100, which is Camlin. Then you go to Faber-Castell, which is a really good brand. Also, if you have these pencils, these color pencils at your disposal, these can also be very helpful if you work with watercolors, which is the third medium that we are talking about. So basically, if you're a beginner, if you want to start painting and sketching is too mundane and too technical, which it can be, and it gets very boring and you get tired, and the last thing you want to do is to indulge in a hobby that ultimately tires us and wears us out. I suggest that the perfect option would be to go with watercolors. Now just go into that back closet of your house, pick up that dusty old box where we had those poster colors. Remember those days when the most exciting part in your life was like buying new poster colors? That was like a mark in like growing up, like not just skill wise, but like the cool factor also went up. And go get those. I assure you they have not gone bad. Even if there's like some fungusy things that you see inside, you just wash them out, just wash out a layer and you are good to go. Those colors aren't really ruined, trust me. Watercolors are the best to work with at this time because they're so nice, they're so pretty to look at. If you put like water and then you put a little bit of color in it and it just flows, and all those beautiful videos that you see. But the thing with watercolors is that they won't have that flow, that beautiful aesthetic to it unless you get the right type of paper. So even if you already have watercolors at your disposal, you're going to have to buy watercolor paper. So the paper that I suggest for watercolors is the Canson 300 GSM watercolor sheets. These are little A5 sheets, so these aren't too big that you'll get scared. So remember when we were kids and we used to work with watercolors and we used to rub it and the sheets would come out in like little balls? Absolutely disgusting. And it didn't really make up for like a very pretty painting either. Sometimes you just rub your way through it, and you definitely don't want that. So if anytime you think that your painting isn't really coming out the way you want it, it's probably not you or the watercolors. It most definitely is the paper. Using the wrong type of paper has been a mistake that almost everybody has done, and we feel like these sheets are kind of expensive and we don't use them. But I assure you, the Canson ones, they aren't that expensive and they're really good quality for what they're priced at. And the last thing that you'll need with watercolors are some brushes, of course. Those aren't really hard to find. You can find them anywhere. So the total cost for watercolors turns out to be however much you spend on the watercolors, and about 300-350 rupees for the Canson sheets. And I would say in total about 100 or 200 rupees for the brushes. So overall, a fairly low investment medium that you can start on right away. The next medium that we will be talking about is very close to watercolors. These are called gouache colors. Now, I have only recently discovered gouache colors. I've been painting for a long time. I've only recently discovered gouache colors. They're like watercolors, but they're a little more chalky, and I myself personally have found them kind of a challenge to work with, but that shouldn't discourage you. There are lots of illustrative styles of paintings, even beautiful landscapes and stuff people have done with gouaches. They behave in a similar way, but not really. It's really hard to explain. But gouaches will be preferable to people who have already worked with watercolors a lot and are kind of bored with it and now want to try something else. But they don't want to start with oils or acrylics. They want to stay in their comfort zone but still try a new medium. Then gouaches are definitely for you. The next medium that I'll be talking about is acrylic. So all the viral videos that we see on YouTube and Instagram of the beautiful sunset and the tree in the front and all the abstract paintings that you see online, those are all made by acrylic paints. Acrylic paints are not natural paints. They can be diluted by water, but they are polymers with pigments mixed in them. But one of the biggest advantages of working with acrylic paint is that you can virtually paint on any surface. You see those videos of people painting on pebbles and like on back of their phone covers. That's all done by acrylic paints. The good thing about acrylic paints is that you can find a relatively cheap set of acrylic paints and they will probably be available at your local stationery shop. But the absolute best thing about acrylics is that you don't need a specific type of paper to work on. Most professional artists actually prefer working with acrylics because they're really fast drying. You can layer them as much as you want, so you have almost infinite chances of correcting your mistake. And there are so many things that you can add on to acrylic paints to make them absolutely dazzle. This is something that is not necessary, but I'm going to add it since we're talking about it. If you feel fairly confident in your skills in acrylic paints, you can actually buy canvas boards or canvas from your local shop if they have it, and you can feel like a professional artist. The second thing would be gesso. Now, gessos would be something that is not absolutely necessary for acrylics, but if you have them, they provide like a good base for which you can put your acrylic colors on and they'll stick to it. I have two types of gessos with me. One is this Liquitex Basics gesso. This is a little professional grade and will cost you a little bit more. The second gesso is the Camlin Artist Gesso. This is also their artist grade, but is significantly less cheaper than the Liquitex one. And these both are absolutely great for creating a surface to work on, as I mostly work with oils. Now, we said it, oils. Everybody wants to work with oils and see how they perform. And oils are my favorite mediums, and I am going to be absolutely biased. Is working with oils is a whole different experience. Of course, as the name suggests, oil paints are oil based, so you cannot really dilute them with water. If you have to dilute them, you're going to have to use linseed oil or turpentine oil. And these are all again investments if you're ready for it. The absolute joy of working with oils is unmatched, and if you can find these materials like online or near you and you can get them without putting yourself in harm's way, definitely go for it. So just to reiterate again, absolute beginner, zero investment, pencil paper, ball pen paper, you're set. Absolute beginner again, tiny bit of investment is watercolors. Slightly advanced, mediocre investment, acrylic paints. And the last one is oil paints. I'm not really putting it in the timeline because oil paints is something I think anybody can try, but it's high in the investment sector. Well, with that concludes our whole video. Don't stop, don't stay still, go out, just collect papers, jot down things, sketch, open up ideas, And even if it's in a sketchbook, if it's on a newspaper, work on one subject, just work on hands, just work on nose. Getting to a certain level of skill and expertise takes time. And if you're willing to give that time, you will get there. But as of now, if you want to enjoy, then enjoy and don't be hard on yourself about that. So, bye bye. Hopefully, I'll see you soon and stay safe. Remember back in those days when we used to like sketch on our desks, write lyrics? You do that in a sketchbook and it's a journal entry. Who would have thunk it? I never did that. I never had a diary and I never maintained it.